Welcome. Okay. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sharon Salvador of the Council for Trade and Investment Promotion. I'm the Executive Director. Welcome to our program for the Business Development Conference hosted today by CTIP First Investment, Inc. Today, we will be enjoying some discussion about some of our projects abroad. If you can please welcome our Director of Operations of CTIP-FII, Mr. Emmanuel Olaweye.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for being on this line with us. We welcome you all, and it's a very good pleasure for us to have you this morning on virtual. My name is Emmanuel Olaweye. I'm the Director of Operations of CTIP. But first and foremost, I would like to thank our Almighty God for allowing us this morning for all to be here to discuss our business operation that we're doing around Africa. This conference came a few months ago to the top management of CTIP to introduce our business development director around Africa, people who are always with us, trying to help us to do the work that we have to do. It's to show also the way that we design our structure, financial, that CTIP is doing for all the projects that we are having, and also to bridge our technical partners that we have with our clients. CTIP is so great and so happy to welcome you again on this platform. But before starting, I would like to introduce you all our Director of Operation that we have in Africa. Mr. Amadou Seck, Senegal and Ivory Coast, Mr. Clinton Key and Mr. To in Liberia, Mr. Edward Mugabe in Uganda, Mr. Seko Otora in Guinea, Conakry, Mohamed Silla, Gambia, Mr. Kwesi Ekofu Asan Eoko in Ghana and Rwanda, Mr. Jibril Seno in Mali, former Deputy Mayor Ugo in Nigeria. Those are the people who are working with us in Africa that are helping us for everything that we do. I'd like also to introduce you the top management of CTIP. Mayor Jeffrey Jones, Chairman, co-founder of CTIP, Mr. Fernando Sopa, President, founder, and President of the chapter of CTIP, Mrs. Sharon Salvador, Director of Administration, Emmanuel Olu, Director of Operation, Mr. Christopher Schwazig, Director of Finance. We have many members of CTIP also, Mr. Russell Molika, Mr. Jesse Atashi, Mr. Joe Hernandez, Manuel Urbano, Attorney Dario Vidal. He's the Director of Operation in Puerto Rico. Mr. Golam is the Director of Development in Bangladesh. Mr. Shankar is the Director of Operation in India. We have Mr. Beruz also. We received so many calls and so many acknowledgements when we did this conference call. People have responded, and I like to acknowledge so many people, dignitary who has called us and said that they will be going to join with us. Amongst them are Director Chao for the Republic of China, Mr. Yo, he is from CRCC, Republic of China, Mr. Kaman Shu, CRCC, Republic of China, Mr. Patrick Ebo Kito, he's the Director of the bank CIB Bank in Liberia, Mr. Joseph Anim, Managing Director of CIBI Bank in Liberia, Mr. Restutu Abba, he's the President of the Global Group in Philippines, Mrs. Sharnara, she's the Director of Business Administration in Kazakhstan, Honorable Dr. Rosanna Shak, she's a representative elect District number 1 in Riverses County in Liberia. We have also Mr. William Petty, President of Franklin Mining, Dr. Faid, President of P2A, Mr. Racine Bey, Executive Director of P2A. Dr. Mamadou Meng is the Head of Department of Preventive and Legal Medicine for P2A. We have the President, Mr. Jose Ebana. He is the President, Deputy Manager of G Group Financing. Monica Varas, she is from Varas Insurance Broking. We have a dignitary from the Republic of DRC, Mr. Jodone Lobo, advisor to the President of DRC. Mr. Joseph Moke, attorney in DRC, and he is a candidate of governor this April election. Mr. Ernest Nick, managing partner of the US African Chamber of Commerce in Europe and Africa. Professor John Kitoko, President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Raleigh, New Jersey, in US. Mr. Alassane Kebe, President and CEO of SLS Senegal. Mr. Mo Kassé, President of SLX Senegal. Greg Sava, he is the co-chairman of Transrailnet International. Mr. Bodhi Zadbek, he is from South Africa from Transrail International. Ryan Torman from Transnet. Juan Pacheco from Transnet. Joseph Bemko, he's a co-executive from Transnet. Andrew Collier, he's from Transnet also. Mr. William Park is the president of US Capital LLC. Mr. Biram Jang is the president of SCI so far in Senegal. Mr. Medun Jang, he's from New York City. Mr. Penny Shemon, he's from the director of technical from Sun Farm Solar. Mr. Tijan Rama from New Jersey, and Mr. Lance Kelly, who's the president and CEO of SunSafe Solar. Those are all the people that we have. And we also are welcoming the CRCC team, who are our partner, who are doing so much work with us. Director Chow and his partners will be able to discuss further on what they are going to do with us. We have many projects in Africa, projects that we are dealing with government, especially Liberia, DRC, Senegal, Uganda, and Sierra Leone. All these countries are willing to work with us, and we're going to discuss furthermore with what we are doing. And once again, thank you so much for being this morning. And if I forget anybody, I just want to let you know that you are acknowledged, and we welcome you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Welcome everyone to the conference. At this moment, I would like to acknowledge a special announcement. We have our Vice President of CTIP, Mr. Russell Mullica, whose birthday is today. We want to say happy birthday, Russell. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, dude.
If you can have a couple of words to just greet everyone as we get started shortly. Okay.
We cannot hear.
Russell, you needed to turn on your.
Yep, I got it. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending upon where you are in the world. It's a great time with CTIP and the entire team that we have here in the United States, Africa, China, Puerto Rico, all over the world. I've enjoyed working with everybody that we've put together over the years. Fernando, Mayor, Sharon, Joe, Emmanuel, I mean, everybody, Jesse. Thank you, and look forward to great, prosperous times.
Thank you, Russell.
Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Welcome. So at this time, I will introduce our chairman, Mayor Jeffrey Jones, who has some welcome remarks for everyone. Chairman?
Am I muting or am
You're on mute.
Good morning, everyone throughout the globe. And we appreciate you having the desire to participate in this conversation. It is our hope and our prayer that fruitful conversation and clear direction becomes the utmost result of today's meeting. I want to just share with you the sort of history of CTIP. You've heard about the many locations, the many nations, the many friends, the many partners that we have. And when Fernando and I first developed this notion, and Joe, I can't leave Joe Hernandez out. When we first developed the notion of CTIP, it was born out of simply the lack of opportunity. While they may be prevalent in various communities and nations, the actual opportunity to engage globally seems to have been limited. Our activities, as a former mayor of the third largest city in the state of New Jersey, Fernando being a world traveler and business aficionado, together we realized that what's missing is the bridging of both of those components. And by that, governments exist to serve the people. So they may not have the opportunity to fully engage and understand the difficulties that businesses endure. So myself being a government, 20 plus years in government, Fernando, 1,000 years in international business, the coming together, the synthesizing, the recognizing that if but we can create a bridge of discussion, opportunity, and engagement, that could lead to business, strong business opportunities. And so from then until now, 2012 till now, we have painstakingly tried to cross whatever ocean, or land in whatever airport, meet with whomever, from local elected officials to the national elected officials, to talk to the business folks who have a desire. Dario in Puerto Rico, June, who helped us with all of our endeavors in China, just as examples of how we've expanded this. And now with the inclusion of Emmanuel, who has come on board like a lightning bolt, we have, and obviously I cannot forget Deputy Mayor Hugo, who was the Deputy Mayor of the City of Newark, where we hosted numerous delegations. But we are now full-footed, fully landed, fully articulating the opportunities that exist in the continent of Africa with any and everyone who has a desire to grow and prosper. And so today is about taking a look at that, engaging, hearing, sharing, and moving to a place where success upon success upon success is realized. So I just want to thank you all. I'll be back and forth in between the conversation. We have very capable people, the executive director, our president. You've heard from Russell Mullica, who's been with us quite a while. We are ready and willing, and we hope that you are, and let's get started. Thank you, Madam Director.
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, we will be introducing Managing Director and CEO of SIB Bank in Monrovia, Liberia, to speak on the topic of the future of banking in Africa, Mr. Joseph K. Anim.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening once again, depending on where you are. The topic that I'm supposed to speak on is the future of banks in Africa. I would rather say, make a few comments in that direction. I would want to, before I start, I want to say thank you to CTIP. Your involvement in Liberia is very welcome. Would like to see a lot of collaboration with yourselves and would like to see some real, infrastructure development through you in Liberia. Liberia offers a good opportunity for institutions such as yourself. Let me start by saying that the crisis that came through COVID-19 has dealt a major blow to African countries that has threatened lives and livelihood of millions and caused a rapid contraction in the economy of African countries. Given that banks play an important role in African countries and in the broader economy and the society of Africa, the negative impact has also affected the bank in many ways. But in the main, it has affected the banks in terms of low deposit volume growth, which is directly linked to the economy of African countries. There's increased bank rates on loans. I think in 2021, it has seen one of the major increase in loan loss provisioning in Liberia, and I believe across African countries or banks in African countries. There's also a reduction in the return on equity, which has also affected banks. So as African countries are in different level of development, so also I believe that banks in each country will face their own set of opportunities and challenges because of the current situation that we have across the world. So the future growth in African banks are likely to differ significantly by country, and it will largely depend on the state and the level of development in that economy. Given that the pandemic is still there, it is time for African countries to turn their focus towards growth and prepare for the future. Now, I would like to say that drawing on McKinsey's global research, as well as real world examples from across banking sectors, I would like to say that I believe the focus on one critical imperative, the scaling up of technology, is the future of banking in Africa. Now, if there's any one thing that will drive the future of banks in Africa, I'll say it is the scaling up of technology in African countries. We have to get to a point where you tap to pay, where we are almost getting. You drive out of a parking lot and the car pays the parking fee. You tell the bank you are saving for your daughter's college tuition, and the money automatically moves into an account that is dedicated to paying the fee. You want a loan and you get it when and as you want it. So there will be a change, and the change will be a shift totally to technology. And I believe that technology will drive the future of banking in Africa. And every country and every bank in Africa must prepare for that level of technology, which is needed to drive banking in the future. I believe the change will not be overnight, but the seed of it is already sprouting in a number of different areas in Africa. For example, wearing devices appear to be gaining ground and promise to make banking and money movement seamless in the future. So we are getting to that point where the wearing devices, much more than the cards, much more than the ATMs, which are becoming archaic, will be the thing to do for banking. payments are expected to move completely away from cards. And I believe that African banks must begin to look at biometrics and wearing devices as a means to move banks in the future. Smart devices will take over banking, voice banking through operating systems like Syria will connect to most core banking applications, I believe. So voice banking will become the future of Africa. But having said that, I want to say that there is a downside to technology. I'm not saying technology is the only mean, but essentially every other thing, credit, loans, every transaction will revolve around technology. So there's a downside to all this. African banks are not equally prepared for this opportunity, which is ready for the future. Banks will need to do more to the current network and platform and architecture and automate infrastructure that were underpinned by the use of public cloud. So banks will need to do something to their network. As people become more resilient and as people depend more on autonomous invisible technology, those technology need to be reliable, and African banks must prepare to offer banking services through this seamless channel, which must be reliable. The customer will not wait. Today, customers in Africa wait, and they have patience if things are not going through well. But the customer will not wait until the payment gateway is open. So the downside is that we need to get prepared. And as we get more digital, we need to make sure that we have the architecture, we have the technology, and we have the platform which will accommodate the growth which will come through. So I would like to end by saying that there will be challenges and hiccups, and we need to have someone to unlock those. And so people will still be important in the future of banking. I will rest here and essentially end the presentation on this note. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amin. At this time, we would like to welcome our founder and CTIP president, Mr. Fernando Sopot. Please, he's going to be speaking on the importance of business development and share some breaking news. Fernando.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To our fellow business development partners, officials of CCRC 14, guests, and my fellow members of the CTIP family, my friends, good morning. My warmest greetings to everyone attending this Business Development Conference 2022, our first conference for the year 2022. The year 2021 has come to an end. As they say, for every ending, there is always a new beginning. Thus, year 2022 has practically just begun. The culmination of 2021 didn't end well with a bang, and the beginning of 2022 was more of uncertainty of the future because of the risks on public health and economic health of the world brought about by COVID and Omicron and other dreaded viruses. The report of Johns Hopkins University, for example, said that COVID and Omicron may become part of our daily lives that we need to watch out for, like an ordinary flu, is another threat to public and economic health. Before we go any further, Have you noticed something in the program distributed to you by Sharon and Brother Emmanuel? I am not referring to just the people attending today's conference or the officials of CRCC 14 and our guests, not even the topic that our resource speakers will discuss today. But look at the color of our program. The color of our conference today is purple. Why is it purple? There is a reason for it. Pantone, the global authority on color, has speak very peri on the color of the year 2022. Purple with a touch of red symbolizes energy and excitement. The color of the year blends with the same energy, vision, and interest. Precisely, we are gathered here today because we share the same vision and interest. We at CTIP First Investment Inc., or we call it for short CTIP-FII, is blessed with so much project development activities. I was once asked by our client, what is CTIP-FII's major resources? What makes us different from other project development companies? My answer was simple. We owe it to you, business developers, our business development partners. You are our natural resources. The challenge now is how do we effectively and efficiently work with each other? We are in the business of providing project development services and project finance. On project development, we focus on two clients. Number one, the government, where they're planning to develop their infrastructure facilities. And second, the private sector, companies involved in property development or companies involved on projects and related to property development. They say that the great business negotiators seek to harmonize interest. They say that the secret of negotiation is to harmonize the interest of all the parties concerned. How do we then harmonize the interest of all the parties involved, whether it is the government or the private sector? First, put yourself into the shoes of your client. Study their weaknesses and strengths. Forget about yourself first as a service provider. Negotiate with trust and exercise the legal philosophy of presumption of good faith on your client. Analyze their needs, their capacity, your capacity, and the law that governs their needs. The more often you put yourself unto them, the more you will understand their needs. Build trust and confidence with clients. Remember, our type of business development is unique in the sense that we are providing service. This is not about technology or a product we want to promote. This is project development. I have a brief case studies in the case of Honorable Rosana, of the member of the Parliament of Liberia, who is a member of Parliament and chairman of the Committee on Health and Social Services. She is here now, who will deliver to us a closing statement. We have in Liberia a guy named Mr. To and Mr. Clayton. So both of them approach us. I'm just presenting to you a simple case study. They approached us and said that there is a demand for infrastructure in Liberia. As a matter of fact, it was echoed by no less than the managing director and CEO of SIB Bank. And so they introduced to us Honorable Rosana. Honorable Rosana wrote us a letter saying that, yes, we have infrastructures. These are our weaknesses. This is what we need. You know, when you are campaigning, when a leader is campaigning for election, they promise many things. And when they are elected in government, what will happen is that they have to comply with what they promised to the electorate. Okay? So their promise was to build a hospital. Okay? So we exchanged ideas and we presented the roadmap for building a hospital. Finding the right financial structure, we can do the balancing act. What do you mean by balancing act? Meaning to say the capacity of the government of Liberia to provide the right securities or collateral, and at the same time, we propose it to our strategic partners like CRCC 14. So the right formula has been adopted. And therefore, we presented the project term sheet to the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health has approved it, and they supported this. And now we are in the level of negotiating with the Ministry of Finance as to what securities that they can provide. So this is just a simple case study. So you started with idea, then you go into planning, and then you move forward to the next step. So project development is the process and the facility of planning, organizing, coordinating, and controlling the resources to accomplish specific goals. It begins with conducting preliminary due diligence on the client, and then entertaining an idea, conceptualizing an idea. You do the planning, then you do the design, and then finance, construction, and once completed, it then go to operation. When you present a project to CTIP-FII, we help you design the right financial structure for the project, and your client consistent with existing laws and regulations that governs the project. The financial structure that we believe could be acceptable to our partners like CRCC 14. If it is a government project, there are two expectations. Is it a government-funded project? If yes, will it be bidded out? Is it a negotiated contract? Will it be under what is called Swiss challenge? And if the government has budget limitation, for example, to develop an infrastructure project, will it be a PPP model, public-private partnership? What type of contractual arrangement does the government prefers? Will it be a build, operate, and transfer, etc.? Is it a solicited proposal or unsolicited proposal? Will the government issue a sovereign or government guarantee to the project proponent? If not, then what type of financial structure shall we recommend to the government so the project can be funded? Therefore, once everything has been cleared and defined, a contract is then prepared. A contract is no more than words on paper that a court may or may not decide to enforce. While a written contract may attempt to express a deal, its essence is the relationship between parties. Thus, a contract is the law between partners, okay, or between parties. And as such, it has to be consistent with existing laws and regulations, especially those that relates to the project. In our next event, we shall attempt to host a seminar on public-private partnership and various contractual modalities allowed by law. In some countries in Africa, they call it Public Procurement and Concession Act. Others call it PPP law, and some simply the General Procurement Law. We will invite resource speakers from the academe, from PPP practitioners, both from Africa and overseas. We will announce the schedule on this probably by month of March. Moreover, We will also attempt to schedule an event on project finance and export credit. These two topics are important in securing construction finance for the project, be it government projects or private projects. I am only allotted 15 minutes, and so before I close, I have a special announcement to make. We are in the middle of a negotiation between a publicly listed company and CTIP-FII, whereby the public listed technology company is proposing to buy part of CTIP-FII. The memorandum of agreement has been drafted, and we are told yesterday that the agreement was signed. What is the significance of this negotiation if it will be concluded? The listed company will be part of CTIP-FII, and it will be named CTIP-ZICIX with the current market symbol in the New York Stock Exchange to be ZICX. When the concept of merger is approved by the exchange, CTIP-FII and CTIP-ZICIX will be regulated, thus establishing better credibility to our clients. We have a very good chance of opening ourselves to the capital market and hopefully finance qualified and viable projects that will be presented to us now and in the future. We want you to be part of this initiative, and we are envisioning that our frontliners, which are the business development partners and other companies involved in all our projects, to become shareholders of CTIP-ZICIX. Should this happen, we will be truly a CTIP family, not only in words, but in deeds. Thank you and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Fernando. Great news. Thank you so much for sharing these breaking news. Very exciting news for CTIP-FII and what it means as we expand in our growth with partners and strategic partnerships. As you said, this is going to further legitimize our work as we expand throughout the globe with partners. At this time, I would like to introduce the Director of Project Finance for CTIP-FII, who's going to speak about project finance, Mr. Christoph Scherzig. Christoph?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you. I will pin your image shortly.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I wish I had written such a good and extensive text like Fernando. Fernando, thank you very much for this presentation. That was really good. My brief here is talking about project finance. So, the question is project finance important? Well, it's a bit, in finances, as if you were asking, if blood is important for life. I mean, so obviously project finance is important. Just to make sure that we're on the same page, what's the difference between project finance and financing a company? Basically, when you have a large company and you go to a lender, a bank or a financial institution, you ask for money, that lender is going to lend you the money against your balance sheet. And then the company will be responsible for refunding this loan. In project finance, usually we do not have strong enough a balance sheet and a credit risk to secure those loans. And therefore we use the project as the collateral to secure the loan. Now, where is the challenge? Well, the challenge is that usually when you start a new project, like a greenfield project, or most of the CTIP projects are infrastructure projects, at the beginning of the project, well, basically there's nothing. There's just an idea. We get a call from a public client or a private client, and they want to build an infrastructure. and there's nothing yet. In some cases that might bring the land, they may have already some agreements in place, but there's nothing tangible that can be used as a collateral to convince a lender that they can lend the money to us, and that if something goes wrong, we'll still be in a position to repay the money. So broadly speaking, in most of our projects, we still need to come up with an initial tranche of money, roughly it's around 15 to 20%, to actually convince the lender that they can lend the remaining amount of money, like 85 to 80 to 85% of the money, pledging the project to make sure that they will get the money back. So we have agreements with large companies like CRCC to actually secure funding from import-export agencies, so we can easily finance typically 85% of the projects. So I'm going to be here focusing on the difficult part of the fundraising, which is the first tranche, the 15%. The 15% is our showstopper, right? If people had 15%, usually they would not need CTIP because they would just go to a standard bank and ask for the loan. So how do we get these 15%? So first, I want to make sure that people here understand the difference between equity and debt. It is a concept that sometimes the differences, I mean, are a bit confusing, and in people's mind, it is a bit blurred. Equity is the shareholding of the company, right? So the people owning the equity in the company are actually owning the project, whereas the debt is a liability and has to be repaid. Typically, the debt would have an interest rate, and people would have to repay, to service the debt, repay the principal at the end of the project and the interest rates. On the equity side, there is typically no interest rates. So if something goes wrong, people will lose everything. If the project or the company goes bankrupt, the debt holder will take over the remaining assets, and this is why they're looking for collaterals. Right. So typically, our 15% of first tranche tends to be an equity investment, or at least it has to look like an equity investment. So how can we convince people to put at risk their money when there is no collateral to guarantee their investment? So here I'm going to talk about several ways, I mean, of raising this funding. So we have, this public-private partnerships. We can use funds. We can use credit enhancements. We can use asset-backed funding, and we can use listed companies on the stock exchange. And finally, I will make a brief mention to the security tokens offering on blockchain, because this is a new area which is becoming more and more trendy at the moment. So the first part, which typically works very well when the client is government, are public-private partnerships. I'm not going to extend myself too much on this because I know that there is a coming seminar that will be specifically directed at public-private partnerships. But to fund a project in collaboration with the government, basically we ask for the government to provide the collateral that is required to secure the loan. If the government is in a position to issue a sovereign guarantee, and that sovereign guarantee has a credit risk which is good enough to be directly monetized by a bank, we would go down that route. If the country issuing the sovereign guarantee has a credit risk which is not good enough, then we need to enhance that credit risk by bringing some sort of additional insurance. So this insurance can be a wrap with some collateral banks, or we need to go for credit enhancement with private lenders. So what kind of credit enhancements can we look for? And the credit enhancements works when the client is not a government bank, or when the client is a private client, because private clients find it more difficult, to get their credit risk insured. So the credit enhancements will have to come from either a large company that has strong enough a balance sheet so that they bring their balance sheet as an additional collateral, and we will establish some sort of joint venture between the owner of the project and the credit enhancer, so that the credit risk will be borne by the credit enhancer. And the way this is typically structured is by issuing a bond. The process of issuing the bond is called the securitization. It's a process which is regulated. And once you've issued a bond, that bond can be sold on an exchange, right? So, but in order to be able to sell the bond on an exchange, you need to get a bond with a high enough credit rating. And the credit rating will be established by the ability of the project to repay the loan that you will get from that bond. So we need to have projects of good quality, and we need to have enough collaterals so that at least the servicing of the bond is going to be guaranteed by the for the insurance of the bond. So this is what we do at CTIP. We're always looking for credit enhancers that will bring their financial strength and that's financial strength combined with our project. Will basically bring the insurance and the quality on the debt that is required for the lender. When we go into the project finance, we don't need to raise all the money up front, right? The project finance is going to be broken up into different phases, and we only need the money in multiple drawdowns based on the milestones of the business plan. So this is really good because it allows us to actually build the collateral as we build the project. So initially, let's imagine that we bring the land. The collateral is going to be the land. Now we start, building first, if it's a residential project, we start busy building houses. Then you can use the houses that you've built to create an asset pool, and that asset pools is going to be your collateral. And that way, by incremental drawdowns on your loan, you will always secure the loan. Now, this is interesting because no longer than last week, I was talking to one of these import-export credit agencies, and they were explaining to me that in Africa, if the African government has already invested, for example, in a hospital, and they want to build a second hospital, for building the second hospital, they can actually bring the first hospital, which is already built, as an initial investment, and qualify that first hospital as part of the asset pool of the two hospitals that will be built. And this is considered as an acceptable collateral. So this way, the 15% would bring from an infrastructure which is already existing there. So there is no need, to add a new investment there. So there's another way of raising those 15%, and it is to go and raise funding from institutional investors. So institutional investors are banks, pension funds, and those institutional investors, the very large hedge funds as well, those institutional investors have a lot of resources. There is a lot of money in that system, but they have a limitation. They can only invest into regulated instruments. So those regulated instruments need to be, regulated funds or regulated securities. Now, what we can bring, and that we can bring a CCAF in Malta. CTIP in Malta is an open-ended fund, which has the advantage of being tax-free. And that CTIP can actually raise funding from institutional investors, and it will be the sum of all those institutional investors that will be in turn investing into the project. So there's multiple advantages of having regulated funds. The major advantage being this ability to actually address sophisticated investors who, by regulation, cannot invest directly into a private owned company. Another way of raising money is to actually go and get this money on an exchange. And so I'm very glad that from Fernando's announcement that we're going to share swaps with a listed company, because once you have a listed company on a stock exchange, you can issue new shares on the stock exchange. And this is a way also of raising money from equity investors through the share issuance, right? Then there is another way in the project finance. I mean, this is called assets-backed funding. So asset-backed funding consists basically in looking at all the different components of the balance sheets and the P&L of the project, and see which parts of the balance sheet and P&L can be eventually pledged to raise money. So here we can be extremely creative. So in some projects, if we already have customers, so if we already have, if we are going to manufacture goods or services, and we already have a reliable customer, we can actually pledge the purchase order of that customer to raise funding. So this is what we do when we structure, you know, when we do the debt structuring. We look at all the different components. It doesn't necessarily need to be tangible. You know, a purchase order is not completely tangible. As long as it is binding and it comes from a relevant buyer, we can raise some money. So we can also use, you know, supplier finance in the terms of equipment. So we will use the credit rating, the credit risk of the supplier to raise the funding. And I'm not too aware of the time because I think I'm running out of time, but a very quick word on STOs. You've probably all heard here about Bitcoin. You've probably all heard that, you know, it's also a roller coaster, very risky. However, Bitcoin has opened a door on what is called STO. So an STO is a security token offering, which is basically the same as issuing a share. But instead of issuing the share on the stock exchange, you're going to issue this share on the blockchain. And the advantage of the STO is that by using blockchain, you can reach out for investors anywhere in the world, right? So you can have multiple investors which are going to bring probably a very small ticket, but everything is done on the internet. And this is an alternative way now of looking for money, which is becoming more and more important. And the difference between an STO and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that has got no underlying assets. It's based on basically the willingness of people to buy or sell at a given price, whereas the STO is still going to be a share of ownership on the project. And you can have multiple types of tokens. You can have equity tokens, you can have debt tokens, and you can have a combination of both. And here, the way you structure it, I mean, the sky is the limit because the regulation is weaker than when you're on the stock exchange, and you can really design very appealing solutions to these type of investors. Right. So this is as a closing sentence. That's what we do, on a daily basis. We're always looking for great enhancers that will bring us, alternatives ways of funding and always looking for ways, and out of the box thinkings, to finance these projects. I hope that it was not too technical.
Thank you, Christophe. Very informative session. We appreciate all the different ways and creative ways of financing projects and offering a benefit to investors. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Director Manager of CRCC 14, who will be speaking about infrastructure development, engine for economic growth of a country, Mr. Yansheng Shao.
Good day, everybody. Before we start, I would like to thank CTIP for inviting CRCC 14 to take part in today's Business Development Conference. Partner with the best is CRCC 14's key business strategy. We, CITP and CRCC are good partners, working closely to share the same visions and goals. Being one of the largest and leading construction company in the world, while we are ranking 42 on Fortune Global 500 in 2021, it is our great pleasure to be here to share our experience on the infrastructure development and how its impact given to the economic growth of a country. Today, we have 3 colleagues joining the conference. I'm Carmen Chiu, Deputy General Manager of CRCC 14, Overseas Construction and Development Company Limited. Sitting next to me is Mr. Zhao.
Hi.
Our Director in Europe. Also, we have our Mr. Wu Jingwen, our Deputy General Manager from headquarters, who is now in Beijing and attending this conference. Now, let's start.
Hello, everyone. Good evening or good morning.
Good morning.
The comment, please go on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Let's start.
So okay, please go on.
Thank you. Let's start the topic now. Infrastructure is the platform on which government, society, and companies construct their common and shared visions and goals. It means a lot. What we see in China in the last few decades, we have invested intensively in public infrastructure in response internally and externally to the need of society and nation development. Definitely, infrastructure development acts as a powerful engine driving economic growth, covering a wide range of industry. It creates jobs, creates business opportunity, improve social efficiency, facilitate trade, improve connectivity, as well as it promote economic inclusion. Particularly, projects such as hospital, energy facility, and transportation can reflect the local and central government's commitment for the long-term growth of a country. As you may know, CRCC is a leading contractor on mega infrastructure construction. We have a registered capital of $500 million US. The total assets is more than $8.7 billion US, and the annual turnover now is more than $10 billion US. We are specialized and have ground experience in various infrastructure works, such as railway, highway, airport, seaport, hydropower plant, housing, hospital, and municipal public works. In addition, our group has foreign managerial authority approved by our Ministry of Commerce. We are keep growing, and up to this moment, we have more than 9,000 professional technicians, 14 subsidiaries, and over 13 regional offices around the world to provide our excellent and professional services. As of today, CRCC has in charge and successfully completed more than 90 railway projects covering the length more than 5,000 kilometers. We also built 360 highways with total lengths of more than 4,000 kilometers. We have over 150 bridges, including the super and mega-sized bridges. CLCC is a major driving force of China tunnel construction. We did complete tunnel mileage over 1,000 kilometers across the mountain, under the city, undersea, river, and lake. We built more than 300 high-rise buildings of total area over 6 million square meters, 20 airports in key strategic cities, and metro construction in over 40 major cities, including Beijing, Wuhan, Nanjing, Chengdu, and so on. What our experience and what we can see is that infrastructure investment has strong positive impact on economic growth in China. According to statistics of some of our projects in China, every $16 million invest in road projects, it can generate approximately 4,000 jobs directly and indirectly, which can stimulate economic growth by 1 to 1.5% of GDP of the city. Along with that, every $16 million invested in railway projects, it can boost the economic growth by 2% of the GDPs of the local area, and it can create more than 8,000 jobs directly. Of course, the GDP growth and economic benefit is found more significant on the construction of airports, seaports, and hydropower plant to the area. Certainly, all of them take years to yield overall and sustainable long-term economic growth. It needs the support of associate development policy. This is very important. Benefit from spending in infrastructure development can be multiplied. It can extend from one city to the others while the physical connectivity was built. For example, the construction of transportation network in a city will not just generate jobs in the construction site, but it also provides more mature platform for real estate markets and investment. It improves connection and tourism. It improves overall efficiency of society. It also boosts the associate commercial and industrial activity, upgrade and reshape the city and even country image. Since 2001, that's 20 years ago, CLCC has developed Go Aboard business strategy to connect to the world construction market. Throughout these years, we did overcome one after one's difficulty, such as financial crisis, political turbulence, and so on. Nowadays, we already set up markets in Africa, Middle East, South American, as well as Central and South Asia, with business covering railway, highway, municipal works, building, hospital, water conservancy, and bridges. Till now, we have successfully completed various overseas projects, and all of them is highly rated by respective government and our Ministry of Commerce and Embassy of our country. Regarding the challenge, pandemic COVID has given us and the world so much lesson to learn. We are hit by lockdown, shortage of labor, surprising train disruption, and financial strain. The global construction market is a bit slowed down, and many challenges ahead need to be recovered in near future. While on the other hand, while the productivity in China has gradually been resumed by adopting effective measures to control the outbreaks, with sufficient resources spread up, we had a strong confidence that we will continue to deliver our professional services to our partners. Another concern is budget limitation. It is always a headache when making infrastructure development plans. With friendly consideration of the situation and strive for a common better future of everybody in the world, our presidency did introduce Belt and Road Initiative in 2013 in order to cope with the global development needs and facilitate visions on human community with a shared future. Under such strategic framework and associate-friendly policy, we can see tons of opportunity for us to strengthen the cooperation with our partners to realize the infrastructure development in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference comes at a very good time while China is now celebrating its Chinese New Year's. A New Year's start and everything begins good. Taking this opportunity, we warmly greet everybody here to have a prosperous Year of Tiger. Finally, we would like to thank again the official of CTIP-FII to invite us to join and share our views here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those lovely remarks. And we look forward to our collaboration with you. Up next, we have our Director of Business Development of Kazakhstan, who will be speaking about Kazakhstan and what it can offer. Our speaker is Ms. Usokekova Zanara. Welcome, Ms. Zanara.
Thank you. Thank you so much from Kazakhstan. Dear Mr. Jones, dear Mr. Fernando, dear conference participants, thank you for support, Mr. Fernando, for my speech. I would like my speech demonstrate which is possible.
We can hear you. I know we're experiencing some slight technical difficulties from Kazakhstan. Okay, great.
Okay. The topic my speech, what opportunities does Kazakhstan have to attract foreign investors? The purpose of the speech is to show, promote Kazakhstan as a developed and strategic partner, which has a great and special interest for foreign investors. Kazakhstan is country with
Ms. Zanar, can you hear us?
It seems like her line is frozen.
All right. Okay. At this time, I will move forward with the program. Emmanuel, do you have any last introductions? If Ms. Zanar is able to speak again, I will allow for her to come back on board before closing remarks.
Thank you, Sharon. At this point, I think I will just want to introduce Mr. Kassé, Mo Kassé from Senegal. He's a very dynamic person who has so much to offer because his corporation, they are the lead people doing the energy sector in Senegal. Mr. Kassé, if you have any word to share with us, you are welcome.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mr. Kassé, president of FESELEC. FESELEC is an organization in which we have many companies, of the private sector. And what I tend to do is have many projects in Senegal according to the rural electrification and some project of the reinforce of extension in the network of the distribution network in Senegal, medium voltage and low voltage. And you have also what we need in Senegal is to have some problems for the financing to this of the private sector. Excuse me for my voice. I have some problem of my voice. I'm very sick, and excuse me if you don't heard what I say. I have many problems, some problem to speak. But what I say is in Senegal, the problem we get is the problem of financing of the project for the private sector. Our need is need financement and hello.
We can hear you.
You heard me? Excuse me, I have some problem of my. Do you heard me?
We can hear you. Okay. Hello. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's okay.
Yes.
Yes. Excuse me. I repeat. I say in Senegal we have some. We have many projects in Senegal according to the electrical sector in rural electrification, because we have some problems to the access of the electrification for the peoples. And what we need is to get a transfer of technology and transfer of know-how to help the private sector to electrify all the localities in Senegal, because we have roughly 50%, 54 or 55% of people who get electricity. And what you need is to have a partnership to finalize all these projects in Senegal, and and also we need also some partnership also to develop to reinforce and to make an extension of the electrical network in Senegal. And I am president of organization in which we have many private companies, and what we need is to have a partner from all these countries to help us to develop, to participate to the development of our country in Senegal, and also all the continent of Africa continent. That's all what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to try again to see if Ms. Zanar. We're still having some technical difficulties. No problem. Emmanuel, I will ask, is it okay for us to continue with the program?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So at this time, we would love to celebrate and be able to present a certificate of appreciation for a special individual in this room. We have the certificate of appreciation, which reads, Council for Trade and Investment Promotion, an international nonprofit and non-government organization with US approved 501c3 tax exempt status in cooperation with CTIP First Investment, Inc. in Garfield, New Jersey in the United States. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Engineer Restituto Resti Abad Jr., President of LA Global Engineering, Civil and Structural Engineer, for his technical and business contributions to CTIP. It is signed this 5th day of February in 2022 in the state of New Jersey here in the USA by Mr. President of CTIP-FII, Fernando M. Sopot, and our chairman, Jeffrey Jones. Thank you so much, Mr. Abad. We would like to have your remarks. If you can please say where you are and please take it away.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yes. I am the head of this engineering firm, Elite Global, and we are here in the Philippines. We are supporting the endeavor of CTIP for its pre-engineering and conceptual every project that they are planning, and we're very thankful for this appreciation by CTIP for our words. We are also honored that our collaboration and this participation for the project development of CTIP are recognized. We shall continue to support CTIP in the field of engineering as our mere contribution, starting from the conceptual design and detailed engineering, and maybe in the construction aspect of each project. So we thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we thank you, Engineer Abad, for all your contributions. We appreciate everything you've provided us. And so at this time, we're going to present Ms. Zanar. Are you ready, Ms. Zanar? Can you hear us?
Yes, my here.
Wonderful, please.
I have technical problems from mobile telephone, okay. I would like to present the algorithm of work of the government of Kazakhstan with investors. Firstly, under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister of Republic Kazakhstan, in investment headquarters has been established, within which emerging problematic vision foreign investors and vision practical implementation of investment project and the regularly considered. The second, the Prime Minister of Republic Kazakhstan is the investment ombudsman. On the basis, the national company Kazakh Invest in the Astana International Financial Center, in order to increase the efficiency of interaction with investors. Special negotiation team, the task force, was created. This division acts as a single negotiator of the behalf of the government with foreign companies in development of important strategic projects. Using the example of the following commissioner project, the production of the technical gases in Karaganda region in the participation of the German Tenke Linde Group, is the production of the passenger cars in Almaty with the participation of the Korean in the TNC Hyundai. The food production in Almaty region with the participation investor from Swiss company. Science 2021, Kazakhstan has introduced a new tool to support investors, the strategic investment agreement for priority sectors of the economy of the Kazakhstan, which concluded between the government in the strategical investors in order to fix agreements to ensure the stability of the all investment legislation with the provision of the support measures for period of up for 25 years old. The investment agreement with allow in the implementation of large project in Kazakhstan in priority sectors of the economy. The volume of the investment which at least $50 million. Priority sector of economic in Kazakhstan included the following types: agriculture, pharmaceuticals, production of agricultural products, manufacturing industry, agro-industrial complex, mechanical engineering, food and other industries for the production of finished products and the advanced processing, logistics, energy, digital technologies, the green technologies, exploration of the new mines. This investment agreement provides a number additional inventors in the comparison with the investment contracts. I would like show preference for investors in Kazakhstan. The investment agreement is drawn up in any form. The agreement can be concluded not only by legal entities of the Republic Kazakhstan, but also by foreign companies and legal entities registered in Astana International Financial Center. Under the agreement, the investor provided with the tax preference, exemption from import tax for 5 years, exemption from land tax for 10 years, exemption from corporative income tax for 10 years, exemption from property tax for 8 years, exemption for customs duties on the import of equipment, in-kind grant and state support 20% of the cost of the construction in installation works and the purchase of equipment I provided. Opportunity to sell products, the state in the process of the public procurement from the single source directly concluded a public procurement and contract. And I know the foreign investors when investing in large and long-term project, following factors are important: the stable and the favorable political and economical situation in the country, safety, return is the profitability of his invested investments, government guarantee, stability in the stability of fulfilling the terms of the agreement with government. Kazakhstan complies with all these factors. And my ambition proposal, taking into account all the factors and the favorable situation in Kazakhstan, I propose to create in near future investment fund of CTP-FII USA Kazakhstan here in the capital of Kazakhstan in Nur-Sultan City. Nur-Sultan City in the countries I invite to participate as member from each representative office of CTP-FII USA in the countries USA, Europe, Asia, Africa, in order to attract strategical foreign investors from all the world to finance large and long-term project in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan and Central Asia exists preference of the business of foreign investors. The fund will become a member of the Council of Foreign Investors under of the President of Kazakhstan. Investment headquarters of the government will become key partners Kazinvest in the Astana International Financial Center and other all financial institutions in Kazakhstan. In March 2022, we are planning visit of the management of the CTIP-FII in Kazakhstan with purpose to open the fund here and sign fund agreements with the government Kazakhstan and the other financial institution cooperation implementation of big and strategical project in Kazakhstan. The just moment organization visions of the creating of fund and the negotiations with the government currently. Please, Mr. Jones, Mr. Fernando, and the other participants of conference considered in supports this is ambition proposal. Welcome in Kazakhstan. Thank you so much for attention.
Thank you, Ms.
Let me summarize.
Ms. Zanara. I was gonna get that, but go ahead, please. Mayor Jeffrey Jones, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. To our good friend in Kazakhstan. When I did my introduction, I tried to be as clear as all of the conversations held this morning, that when we initially started CTIP, it was to create opportunities, to find out where investment was necessary. As Christoph has stated and explained, the processes. And so there's no better evidence that the purpose, the origin, and the steadfast power and need for CTIP remains. While I didn't understand everything said about Kazakhstan, I am convinced that what we decided to do in 2012 was the right move. And as evidenced by the 39 participants who participated today, and this is our 11th, I believe, event. So just real quickly, and I'll turn it back over to the director. In Liberia, we were told that the pandemic has had its impacts, that the focus must be on reevaluation, that technology scaling up is necessary, and that reevaluating services is primary. From CCR 14, we've heard a willingness to participate and that infrastructure is but a platform. And yet, through some of our attempts to be a part of this conversation, we realize infrastructure is more than just a platform. It is necessary for us to communicate and to build better communities and have better opportunities. To our friend, Mr. Kassé in Senegal, we understand and appreciate that the world is wide open, and it merely takes all of us or any one of us to decide to put together a list, as what we just heard, as to what, in the case of Kazakhstan, what it has and what it seeks from investment. So I just wanted to be able to say, and I can't go further without acknowledging Dario Vidal out of Puerto Rico, because of the many projects and interests that that island has to develop infrastructure. So let me be clear. We recognize that there is opportunity, but opportunity is just the word without the action. The actions required require each of us to continue to stay in dialogue, for us to do the complete and thorough examination of the things we want to present. Government guarantees are important. Having land, and land that has clear title so the development will not be hindered. Financing is vital. A well-designed design is paramount. And then investors, no matter where they come from, investors, once you eliminate the risk, as was stated about the 15% from Christoph, and as CCR 14 stated, Once you present the best and perfect design and picture, then you have opportunity. That is what CTIP has built our reputation on. That is what CTIP throughout the last number of years has worked feverishly to get about. And again, today echoes that effort. Thank you all for joining us. Madam Director.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. Before we move on to closing remarks, I just wanted to say thank you to all the speakers and all of the participants here in the room. I want to just emphasize that as we move forward with presentations of projects and opportunities, we have a suite of companies. We have our nonprofit CTIP. We have CTIP-FII, First Investment, Inc., to provide us with assistance with financing opportunities and creative ways to be able to structure a deal or a presentation. We have CTIP Global Consulting Group, GCG, CTIP-ITIC, our Investment, Trade, and Investment Center, our American School for International Business, which is our training module. Once we have implemented a project, we're able to then train the labor, be able to educate the community, as well as further entrench upon the educational aspects of our projects. AIDI, Africa Infrastructure Development, Inc., is our trademark company in Africa. We also have two platforms, online platforms, digital platforms, our CTIP Trade Connect and CTIP.tv, which are going to be launched soon to relaunch or soon. Thank you, Chairman Jones, and be able to reach the world. These are our digital tools that will be able to advertise and share and market our efforts. So at this moment in time, if there's nothing else that claims our attention, we will have a representative of Electoral District Number 1 from Rivercrest County in Liberia, the chairman of Rivercrest Legislative Caucus, Honorable Dr. Rosanna Shock. Are we able to, can you hear us? Honorable Shah? Okay. We must be having some technical difficulties with in Liberia. At this time, I will turn the attention to Mayor Chairman Jones.
So we have, thank you very much. And again, infrastructure, as vital as it is, we see what the challenges are if we have infrastructure that has challenges. Hence, we cannot communicate as we'd like to. So that in itself is a goal for us to work towards. Before we conclude, obviously, we'd like to have the words and voice of our president, Mr. Fernando Soput. But I just want to say to you on behalf of CTIP, all of our members, all of our interests, how much we appreciate, and we do appreciate, the ability to share, and you share with us, that there is an interest, that there is a desire, that there is a need for this kind of work. And we are ready, we're willing, and we're highly able to move whatever concept or idea to fruition. That being said, Mr. President.
Fernando, you're on mute, Mr. President.
We can't hear you, Fernando.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor Jeff. We hear you loud and clear that opportunities are there and we can create things that needs to make this a reality. And with our partners like CRCC 14 and the frontliners, most especially, we're giving emphasis on them because they're very important in this organization, because they bring the opportunity to us. And we do not consider our director for business development as mere brokers. Okay, so they are not brokers. They are our business developers. They are the project originators, and we owe to them the blessings that we have now, and we are enjoying the fruit of their labor. All right. So thank you very much, and I hope we continue with this, and we hope to hear from you in the next event. We are planning to put up an event on public-private partnership. I have already someone in mind that is an authority on PPP. He is an international recognized PPP practitioner. He is a lawyer, and he works in the academe. And in fact, he is a consultant to the US PPP, okay, and many other countries. And so I return back to our executive director. Maybe Honorable Rosana will be already available.
Is Honorable Rosanna on the line?
Is she on the panel?
I do not see her name. So
Yeah.
before we close, I will turn it over to Mr. Emmanuel, our Director of Operations of CTIP-FII and Executive VP of the Africa Business Development Team. Before we close out, some final remarks, Emmanuel, please.
Thank you, Sharon, for everything that you have done for us today. We appreciate your work as usual. I'd like to have a special thanks to the team of P2A, because they are people that we have spent so much time with them. We want to acknowledge them and want to let them know that we are still working with the project in Senegal, and with our heart, something will come up very soon. Dr. Faye and Mr. Racine, Mr. Sek, Dr. May, we are so grateful to know you since the beginning, since last year. So by the grace of God, something will happen very soon. I'd like to thank also my friend, Mr. Tamba Abdu, who joined us, and everybody who are here in this panel this morning. Dr. Kitoko, who was able to give us some good friends from the DRC, and we know that there are so many projects going on there. We have good friends also from Sierra Leone that we are working with, because the government of Sierra Leone want to give us a 241-kilometer project to do. And by the grace of God, we think that we're going to achieve that accomplishment also. So this morning, we are so grateful to have all of you. I cannot speak and name everybody, but I would like to say a special thanks to Mayor Jones, to my friend, President Fernando Sopa, who's always calling every day that we speak, and Sharon, and all the members from CTIP, Russell and all the friends, Eternity Dow from Puerto Rico, who are helping us with the big project in Puerto Rico also. So I'd like to conclude here to just say that thank you for being this morning with us, and by the grace of God, everything will come to pass. We thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. At this time, to close, if everyone can join us on camera for a screenshot, that'd be great. And if you can, in the chat box, state your name and that you've participated, we'll be able to acknowledge you after the event for participating in our conference. So thank you very much. We are able, we're willing and able to be able to present to you our participants. Mayor Jones. Picture.
Oh, Bob, I was coming over there.
Thank you very much.
Sharon?
Yes, thank you.
A shout out to Mayor Jones, whose birthday is next week. Happy birthday, Mayor.
And shout out to June Lin. June Lin is also in the audience.
And Baruch as well.
Baruch, brother Baruch as well. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. This concludes our conference. Have a good day.
Thank
Or
you.
morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, Fernando and Mayor Jones and Sharon and Manuel. Thanks for everybody. Thank you. Hope to
Thank
see you
you.
the next time. Take care.
Right.
Take care. Take care.
Right.
Great conference. See you guys next time.
Thank you, June. Thank you.
Thank you, June.
Thank you,
everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, you all.